Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the beginners course. And today we'll be focusing on lesson one, which is sort of the science of healthy hair. And I hope this course will help you learn the basics of healthy hair care at home. In this particular lesson, we're going to go over the mission of the course and a brief lesson on the science of healthy hair. And the science portion can be a bit technical, so I tried to make it as interesting as possible. And we'll begin by going over the structure of hair and then focus a little bit on how hair is formed and how it grows. And I hope this lesson will provide a foundation for the instructional videos where we'll move a little bit more into technique and procedure. But first, let's talk about the mission for the course. A lot of people join the site and feel a little bit overwhelmed. There are over 200 articles, videos, and documents on the site, so I can understand that you may not quite know where to begin and it's easy to get lost. The goal of this course is really to provide you with the comprehensive overview on healthy hair care, and it's structured in sort of an educational and visual way. The first couple lessons will focus on the science of healthy hair, hair growth and type, characteristics of healthy versus unhealthy hair, the HT or healthy textures way towards healthy hair, and then, of course, a series of instructional videos on basic techniques and procedures, including cleansing, conditioning, proper styling, as well as daytime and nighttime care. So now that we have our agenda for the course, let's start by going over the science of hair care. Now, we all want long, strong, healthy hair, but how well do we really understand our hair? I mean, truly understand how our hair works. Most people think that healthy hair is just a matter of using good products and leaving the hair alone. But healthy hair is a lot more complex than that. I believe that when you really take the time to understand the science of healthy hair, you can understand why your hair behaves the way it does. And you'll be able to fix damaged hair conditions and understand why your hair is dull, dry, or lifeless. So let's begin where it all begins, the hair root. When we talk about hair, we're really talking about two very important parts of the hair, the hair root and the hair shaft. The hair that exists above the surface is known as the hair that exists above the surface is known as the hair shaft. The hair that exists below the surface is known as the hair root. So we're going to begin by talking about the hair root. Now, when you pull out a strand of hair, you're pulling the hair out of the follicle. And that's this tube-like depression that houses the hair strand. And we have hair follicles everywhere except our palms and the soles of our feet. The sebaceous glands are the oil glands that exist below the skin surface. These glands secrete sebum, which is a vitamin E rich natural conditioner designed to keep the hair strand shiny, soft, and well nourished. However, sebum attracts dust and dirt, making the hair feel greasy and oily after a few days. So, despite the benefits that sebum provides, we wash it away with shampoo. Yet, the harsh detergents in our shampoo tend to overdo it and strip the hair of any oil, dehydrating the hair and the scalp. To make sebum work for you, wash your hair every 3 to 5 days and always follow with a moisture-rich conditioner. And be sure to, or maybe try to, once or twice to just lather once. And this will ensure that the hair stays clean, but there are also some natural oils that remain on the hair and scalp to keep the hair healthy. At the base of the follicle is the hair bulb, which is the thickest part of the hair root and fits over the dermal papilla. The dermal papilla, this is the blood and nerve supply to the hair strand, providing it with all the nutrients it needs for growth. The erector pili is the tiny muscles around the hair follicle, and whenever you feel goosebumps or strong emotions, this muscle will contract and cause the hair to stand up. So let's talk a little bit about how the hair is formed. Healthy hair always starts with diet. Our body naturally produces 11 out of the necessary 20 amino acids that make up hair, but the rest has to come from our diet, and that's why it's so very important to maintain a healthy diet chock full of protein-rich meats, beans, nuts, veggies, and fruits. Crash dietings and medication can impact the hair, often leading to dullness, dryness, and hair loss. Now, at the base of the bulb exists the matrix, and in the matrix cells are growing and dividing rapidly. Next to bone marrow, cell reproduction is the second most prolific in the human body in this area, which is why it's so sensitive to changes going on within the body. And it's also why diet is so important. As the cells divide, they push upward and mature, filling up with fibrous protein called keratin. They continue their course up the hair follicle, eventually losing their nucleus and dying. And once the hair breaks through the skin surface, it's no longer living and is completely comprised of keratinized protein. This process is called keratinization. So again, once the hair emerges from the scalp, it's not alive and it's basically keratinized protein. And this is the end result. Now this is a healthy hair strand, and hair is 97% protein, which provides it with the strength and resiliency, and is 3% moisture, which allows the hair to be shiny and smooth to the touch. Hair is naturally very tough and resilient, but it can become damaged with excessive heat and handling. Let's talk a little bit why this is. So this is the cross section of a healthy hair shaft. And you'll see there are three layers that exist: the cuticle, cortex, and medulla. The cuticle is comprised of a series of overlapping scales, kind of like a shingles on a house. It usually has about 7 to 10 layers and designed to protect the inner structure of the hair shaft. It also prevents the hair from absorbing too much moisture, sealing shut when the hair shaft has absorbed all that it needs. When healthy, the cuticle is clear and compact, and it reflects the moisture content in the hair shaft. When it reflects light, it creates shine. So when your hair is shiny, you know that your hair is reflecting light. Now, when it's damaged, it's broken and raised, and it absorbs light instead of reflecting it. And this is what makes the hair look dull and dry and dehydrated. Now, the cortex is where everything happens. It's made up of millions of parallel fibers of hard protein. And proteins are essentially long chains of amino acids, which are comprised of elements. The main elements that make up the human hair are carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, and sulfur. So again, just to reiterate, the elements make up the amino acids, which in turn make up the proteins. And these millions of parallel fibers of hard proteins are held together by bonds. And we are concerned about bonds because this helps explain how we style the hair and also why hairstyles drop. 80% of the bonds that hold together these proteins are hydrogen bonds. Hydrogen bonds are very weak side bonds that can be broken with water or heat. So when we wet set, braid, or twist the hair and let it dry, we are manipulating the hydrogen bonds in the hair. 8% of the bonds are disulfide bonds, which can be broken only chemically. When we relax or perm the hair, we are breaking down the disulfide bonds. And once broken, they cannot be repaired, which is why, contrary to what people tell, whatever if your stylist or your friend or your relative says, relaxed hair can never revert. It can never go back to its actual or original texture. And you can't wash away a relaxer. Nothing can strip the relaxer from your hair. Those bonds are permanently broken. So once your hair is relaxed, relaxed, particularly bone straight, you have permanently broken down those disulfide bonds. So the last section is the medulla, which is also known as the pith, and it's really just comprised of round cells. Most likely it's absent in most hair strands. It tends to exist mostly in coarse and thick hair, but it's not always present. So these are some of the key takeaways from Lesson 1. Again, we talked a little about the characteristics of the hair root and the hair shaft, how diet contributes to a healthy scalp and hair, also how it's very important to realize the importance of retaining sebum in the hair. It's your best conditioner, so we always want to keep the scalp clean so that hair can break the surface and grow, but we don't want to overstrip the scalp and the hair. The cuticle protects the cortex and creates shine. And of course, the cortex is where pretty much everything happens. So that's where we focused on the bonds and the elements and the amino acids and the proteins. So that is basically it for today. The next lesson, we're going to talk a little bit more about hair growth so that you can understand how you can maximize and retain length. So I hope you enjoyed Lesson 1. Thanks so much for listening.